So this was one of my random pickups from eBay, and something about it was just ringing a bell with me. I think it was the logo on the front of the box here was reminding me of something. I don't think it might mean Space Crusade, if you remember that ancient Warhammer-esque game. And maybe these were out around the same time as Zoids. This dates from 1986. So something was kind of, just sort of caught my eye anyway. And I thought, also it looked a little bit like Robotix. But this is actually made by Tonka. Now, I associate Tonka with great big metal trucks, as I'm sure many people would. But they also produced other quite sort of well-known brands, and they even went into video games at one point. And apparently at one point they even purchased Kenner Parker, which would have included Palitoy. But then they had to sort of sell them off again to Hasbro ultimately, because the amount of money they had to raise to buy it was too much apparently. So I'm trying to see exactly what they actually produced. Apparently they come from a place called Mini Tonka in the States, and that's obviously where they drew their name from when they started to be big. Oh, the main thing I think they did was they did Gobots, which I hadn't appreciated. So at one point they were actually competing with Hasbro, and they also did the Spiral Zone toys. I'm familiar with the cartoon. I've never really seen the toys. Did Rock Lords as well. So they did do sort of, kind of actiony, not quite, actiony figure stuff, I guess, ultimately, rather than just the vehicles. But this thing is a construction set. It's a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be, but that does explain the amount that I didn't pay for it. So I thought what I'd do is actually open it up and have a little crack at it, and just see what it looks like, really. So yeah, 1986. Let's see if she's got all her bits. Okay. And yes, happily, instructions. Marvellous. I think that's it. Yep, I think that's my lot. So I mean, they're not exactly huge sets from the looks of it. I don't know how big they actually got. I think it was basically a standard sort of two warring factions fair. You can see why it's reminding me of Zoids, because clearly sort of, good guys blue, bad guys red. It's fairly sort of standard colouring nomenclature for this sort of thing. I've got the Bandit bomber here with a massive 21 parts. Is it 21 parts? Yeah, 21 parts. And there's a Z tank and a swivel tank and a strike jet that you can see there. Definitely something about that logo is really pinging for me. I don't know what it is. Answers on a virtual postcard, if you would. So yeah, it's quite, but it's. I think actually I appreciated the fact that somebody had actually tried with the picture on the front as well, because that's quite eye catching, I think, in fairness to them. So let's see if I can actually construct this. Looks like someone's already made a pretty good start, actually, I suspect, although not perhaps in the intended fashion. So let's just see if I can sling this together for you. Oh, interesting. Alright, I thought that was going to be more helpful than it actually is. So it's literally, that is the instructions. I thought there was going to be more of a step-by-step there, but it's literally kind of, here you go, here are your bits, this is what it's supposed to look like when you're finished. Okay, right. Let's have a look. So we've got it's got a bit of a swivel joint action to it there. Looks like the booster's in the right place. That's in the right place. And then we've got sort of little rotating ratchets there, if that's the right word for them. Sort of swivel joints, I guess. Good firm connections. They're definitely not going anywhere. I'm assuming this is right. Okay, I see. Yes. So that's a kind of a bare joint there. So you can obviously add pieces onto the end of the joints there. Oh, I've even got a little figure with it. That's nice. it's always nice when you get something like this from eBay, which is completely random, sight unseen. You don't know who the seller is, so all you can do is hope that they're going to give you all the necessary bits and pieces. Oh yeah, that's just a little. That's going that way, so I think that's actually right. Okay, there we go. Cool. I'm rather liking this. I think I saw this in a model shop once, many moons ago. It's probably one of those things I always wished that I bought, but I never actually did in the end. And then I kind of grew up a bit. On your bit mind, obviously. Okay, so guns on the wings, nice. Proper solid guns as well. Those aren't going to break anytime soon. Oops, he says as it swivels. They're on a swivel mount. Oh, okay, so they actually swivel. That one's a little bit loose. It's actually swivelling independently of its mounting. That's quite impressive. And I've got this little nondescript guy here to pop in the cockpit section. I mean, that's very Zoids. It's bigger than Zoids, much bigger than Zoids, in fairness to him. And it's an articulated figure, which Zoids definitely weren't. Their androids were much smaller and were fixed. In case you're wondering, I don't actually have any Zoids as yet, but I would like to get one too. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, actually, it looks a better red on the screen than it does in real life when I'm looking at it. But I think that's it. If its gun would stay up, that would be nice. But that's the only thing that's really particularly wrong with it, I think. So yeah, I think I've done a reasonable enough job of that. I rather like that as a concept. You can see there's a lot of playability from it because it's got connection points front and sides there, so you could easily stick the guns on the front there, whatever you wanted to do. It's got a spare connector up the top. Those give you lots and lots of playability because they're going to be, you can angle them whichever way you want. So I mean, you could actually, if you wanted to, you could just have it sort of bring its wings up as it landed and just have it settle down flat on its belly like that. As I say, it's just a slight shame that one's obviously gotten a bit loose over time. That one just does not want to resist gravity whatsoever, unfortunately. But there, yeah, but that's cool. I would have enjoyed that if I'd run across them at the right time. I can't say I massively remember them in the UK. They're obviously here because this is here. One would assume, unless someone imported this. Perhaps we just got the American versions. I don't know, but yeah, they're pretty cool. I mean, the figures aren't anything to write home about, but I think you're buying it for the construction aspect. I think, in fairness to Tonka. But yeah, I rather like that. I rather like that. That's cool. It's a shame there's not more universal. I mean, they're not hexagonal joints, so they wouldn't have been compatible with Robotix, for example. But yeah, it's good stuff. Cool. Oh, well, there you go. So that's Legions of Power, circa 1986. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again. I do have a rather interesting thing to show you, but I'm not quite ready to do it yet. But anyway, I'll bring that to you when I'm ready. Cheers for now.